Hey guys, Demon here. This is the intro, not the actual video, but hope you enjoy it. Hey guys, Demon here, doing the final season 4 BoJack Horseman review. What time is it right now? This is the final episode in season 4. Is there going to be a season 5? I don't know. I wouldn't mind it to see a season 5 because it looks like things are looking up for pretty much everybody. Except for 2 people. But we'll discuss that a little bit later, shall we? So, let's try to get into, first, let's get into the BoJack Horseman thing. So, BoJack Horseman was freaking out because he just lost his daughter. And then he heard something from Princess Carolyn. And he started to run around doing everything that he didn't do when she was there. Because he really loves this girl, you know. He really thinks he's her father, you know. So he's just like, I'm gonna find her mother like I promised her. So he runs around. And he realizes that she might not be his daughter because DNA is a tricky thing. And it was also on the BoJack Horseman show. That's pretty funny, I guess. So she realizes that she might not be his daughter. And he goes to see if his father was her father. And he was. So he finds out the information about her mother. He gets the phone number. He gets where she lives and stuff off of Facebook. And then he goes to her house, which her dads are there. And they're pissed off at him still. And he gives them the number, and they tell him to get the hell out. Which I feel is a little bit harsh. But, whatever, I guess. I mean, you just found out your daughter had a brother. And you're like, yeah, get the fuck out. I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, a little bit too harsh for me. I don't know. I feel some sympathy for the guy, I gotta say. And I know what I usually say is that I don't feel sympathy for people like BoJack's mother and stuff like that. But in this case, BoJack actually did something great, so I kind of feel sympathy for him. And they kicked him out for it. But anyways, he did it out of the goodness of his own heart, for once. So, at the end, she calls him and says basically that she's been calling her mom, and her mom is really nice and really nice and stuff. And the last episode, we know that BoJack's mom basically forced her to get rid of her in the first place. So, it wasn't actually her fault, but I guess she never searched for her daughter, which is kind of weird. But, you know, whatever, I guess. So, in the end, she calls him and she's just like, yeah, I've been calling her and stuff, and I'm going to go meet her right now. And that's going to be nice because now she gets to meet her mother. And he's just like, I hope I wasn't like a dick. I was a bad father and stuff. And then she said, like, I never needed a father. I already told you I had enough fathers. And then she said at the end, like, but I could use a brother. And BoJack smiled at that, and I smiled at that too. On the last episode, I didn't know how I'd feel about this, and especially if BoJack found out and stuff like that. But he found out that she was his sister, and he still cares for her because, you know, you should care for your sister. You know, I have a sister, and I'd probably, if something happened like this to her, I'd probably do the same thing. You know, I'd do a lot of things for her, you know. And I hope she would do the same for me, but who knows, right? I'm pretty sure she would. But yeah, this was like a really good moment, so I don't mind it as much. I thought it'd be cool if he was her father, but I don't mind it as much as that he's her brother. That's a pretty good ending. And on the Princess Carolyn front, Todd gives her a little speech, and she looks like she's getting her life back together. And if worse comes to worse, she's probably going to adopt. Because that's what BoJack suggested to her. And she's like, thanks, you know, because she's like, you'll be a good mother. And she said that she promised he'd be on this project, and he said yes, because he wants to give back to Princess Carolyn. So he said yes. How long is that gonna last? I don't know. We're gonna have to see. Probably a season, because it looked pretty shitty when BoJack read it. So we're gonna have to see how long that lasts, or if BoJack walks away from it. If there is another season, I don't know if there is because there's not right now. But it'd be interesting to see it if there was. So that's what happens with Princess Carolyn. And it seems like she's getting her life back together. And then there's Todd. All the clowns that he let loose in the forest have rabies now. Except one that saves him and the business girl from the higher business. I guess she's from the higher business thing. So she saved him. I mean, she went there with him because it was kind of her fault too. Because she never said you should release him into the forest, and neither did the clowns. I don't know why the clowns didn't go like, why don't we just go home instead of going to the forest? But whatever. But they all have rabies now. And they made a business where people run away from the clowns because they want to lose weight. And he wins, you know? And then the girl says, if you ever want to hang out or something like that, you know, we could, and stuff. And then Todd says, I'm kind of asexual, so I don't know. And she's just like, I know, so am I. So, a little bit of a romance there. I don't know if it's not a sexual romance, but it's like a, I like you, you like me sort of thing. I wonder, because on that one episode, that asexual couple was married, right? So they probably don't have sex, but they still have, like, companionship. But I wonder if they would have sex if they wanted kids. Because I'm sure asexual people want kids, maybe. So would you have sex if you want kids? I don't know. But yeah, there's a little bit of a robot spark between Todd and her. That's pretty cool. And then the final one is between Mr. Peanut Butter and Diane. And it's been a long road since season 1 they've been together. They got married. And they were happy until Diane wanted more. And she's reminding me of BoJack Horseman. BoJack Horseman has had a relationship where he could have had it all, but he fucked it up. You know, with the owl girl. I forgot her name, I'm sorry. And he had a lot of things where he could have had a lot, but he fucked them all up. And now it seems like Diane is doing the same thing. And Mr. Peanut Butter is trying to do everything to stop it because he doesn't want her to be like his old wife. His old wives, I should say. He tries to say, like, add something to the house. Like, do anything. I don't want this to be my house. I want it to be our house. He's like, I feel like you're a guest, and I'm really, like, upset about that. I don't want you to be a guest. I want you to be, like, with me, you know? With me. I don't want you to be another one of my ex-fucking wives. Because he really fucking loves her, and she's just like, I don't know, fuck, like, And then she just starts crying and saying, like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And Mr. Peanut Butter just sits there and frowns. Because that's all you can do. And it's true sometimes, you know, like, sometimes the person that you love might love you back at the beginning, but then at the end, they might not. And then, you kind of just have nothing to do, you know? And they leave you sometimes. And you get depressed. But, you know, you might find someone else. You might not. Who knows? And sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes you find someone that you love. But at the end, you just don't love them anymore. And, you dump them or sometimes you stay with them depending on who you are. And the person that you dump might still love you, might get depressed, and you might get depressed for dumping them because you still have feelings for them or something like that, but I don't know, it's not looking good for Mr. Peanut Butter and Diane, you know? It's just what happens in life, you know? It's like a real situation right there, you know? Best thing for for Diane and Mr. Peanut Butter, probably therapy. Family therapy, I guess. Because who knows? If that doesn't work, then you're kind of fucked. I don't know. But anyways, that's this whole thing in a nutshell. This whole season, really good season. I love this season actually. I really loved how BoJack grew as a person and finally stuck with it. Because every season he pretty much grows as a person. But then by the end, he fucking falls off, and he's just like, fuck. And it's just like, BoJack, you're such a fucking asshole. I've always thought BoJack was a fucking asshole. But this season, he actually grew, and it stuck. It stuck for once. And that is awesome. And it didn't take someone like a lover. It took a love of a daughter and a sister. So, that's pretty cool. So this whole season was awesome. And this last episode wrapped it up really nicely, really neatly. Except for Diane and Mr. Pickles. A little bit of a thing there. I can understand where Diane's coming from. But I can also understand where Mr. Pickles is coming from. Mr. Pickles wants to, work through it. But Diane doesn't know if she can anymore. Because of all the things that Mr. Pickles has done. And she doesn't know if she wants anymore. Sometimes the more you want, the more you lose. But, really good episode. And I don't know if there's going to be a season 5. If there is, awesome. If there's not, that sucks. But all in all, really good episode. Really good season. If you enjoyed my review, like, comment, subscribe, and share. As always, my friends, stay sane. Peace. Hey guys, this is the outro. Just want to remind you that if you want to subscribe, you can press the circle, or if you want to watch another video, you can press the square. And also, if you like the video, give a like, leave a comment, share it. As always, my friends, stay sane.